Creative Katie here. Welcome to my version of the Index Card a Day 2019 challenge and my Create Daily series. I'm using a prompt from week 5, Constellation, and the technique that I'll feature is using your own pictures and applying whitewash. So this starfish picture popped up in my Facebook memory from 2014. And I knew I was going to use it in my art. Then I found this quote from Van Gogh: "I know nothing with any certainty, but the sight of the stars makes me dream." And this starfish, that was the beginning of our dream of moving to and retiring to Vancouver Island, which has become a reality. So anyways, back to the journal page. I took that picture, I resized it to a multiple of sizes and printed it off with my laser printer. Now I'm just using an X-Acto knife right on my glass media mat, and I'm cutting these starfish out. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch me cut all of them out. I just kind of go around very carefully with it. I prefer this to using scissors, but if you want to use scissors or that's what you feel more comfortable with, then by all means use that. I love my glass media mat because I can cut right here. I don't have to get out my cutting mat, and that's one less thing that I have to put back at the end of my art journaling session. So I just take the time and cut out these purple starfish, which just caught my imagination and made me dream. So now to create a background for this, I'm grabbing light blue permanent, phthalo turquoise, which is the Deco Art premium paint, and dioxazine purple. And I'm just getting a base coat of paint on my gessoed, repurposed Happy Planner page. Now I'm using the purple in there because I want it to speak with the purple of the starfish. So I just want a little bit of that color introduced into the background as well. Now I'm taking this stamp, and I'll put the link to this and other products in the description box below in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. And I'm using this stamp while the paint's still wet. So it's lifting off the paint, taking it down to the white gesso and giving some texture. And now here, because I want a little bit more white, I'm actually applying the white paint and then stamping on it. And that gives similar but different effects. And as long as you clean your stamps right after, nothing bad will happen to them. I love this circle stamp, and actually this is just half of the stamp. I've cut it in half to use on my art journal pages, just because the whole one for how I use it. Now I have this Joggles foam stamp, and it's called Teardrop in the Round, and I don't believe I have a link to it, but I do love this. And I put the paint on and I press it on, and this I've used the phthalo turquoise, which goes really well on here. It's a gorgeous color. Now again, I'm just going to spray this with my Murphy's Oil soap mixture and clean it off, because you do not want your paint to dry on your stamps. So I was thinking this was just a little too bold, a little too much pattern. I wanted the starfish to be the focal point. So I just thinned down some white acrylic paint and brush it on there very quickly, and then pat it off. So you're taking off most of that, and that just knocks back the color and gives you a lighter effect if that's what you're looking for. So it's a good trick to have in your arsenal in case. And you can see how easily this glass media mat cleans up. Even when the paint is dry, I just spray it with the Murphy's Oil Soap combination, let it sit for a couple seconds, and then it comes right off. I just want to add a little bit more white now that I have the background where I would like it to be. And look at that lovely, lovely, lovely background. So I'm really happy with this. It's got some pattern, it's got some texture. Then I'd lay the starfish out, kind of a, stylized Big Dipper constellation. And I took some pictures of the orientation. And then I decided which one I liked the best. And once I had decided, I am gluing the starfish down one by one very carefully so as to not disturb how I have them all laid out. Now, if you don't have a laser printer at home, you can get your pictures printed at a place like Staples or, office supply place. If you know what you're getting, and put several on a page or whatever, and then get them done to use. It just brings so much more meaning to your page if you're using your own pictures. So now when I take my camera out and I'm touring around or I'm taking pictures, I'm also thinking, oh, I could use this in my art. So I typed up the quote by Van Gogh, and I'm just going to put that along the bottom. This time I'm not cutting it out. It's a pretty long quote. As soon as I saw Daisy Yellow had constellations as one of the prompts, I knew that I was going to do something with stars. Didn't know that it was going to end up being starfish. So now I'm taking the phthalo turquoise and applying it to the edges with a makeup sponge. So if you're doing something with a focal point that's purple, that light blue permanent goes really, really well with the purples. You get the contrast, but they're close to each other on the color wheel. Throw in white or silver, and away you go. Now I'm just using a very lazy application of the float technique to just shade around the edges. And as usual with the float technique, I put a layer on it, see how dark it is, then if I want it darker, I go over it again. Just build up to the intensity that you want. Now there's a lot of shading on the starfish, but I decide that I'm going to use the float technique and go around the outside of the starfish. So I'm actually on the background paper, and I'm just providing a little bit of a shadow so it looks like the starfish are more part of the page. And I'm kind of jumping around because I don't want to, where they connect, I don't want to disturb what's already there until it's dry. Now I could have done this with my blue Stabilo all pencil and then activate it with water, or my Inktense pencils, and gotten a similar effect. So if you're haven't perfected the float technique, or don't want to try that, you can use the Stabilo oil pencil or Inktense pencil or watercolor pencil to do that. I just thought the blue worked better. I didn't want to go so stark with the black. And here I'm just adding a second layer of color just to intensify it now that it's dried. The glass media mat works really well for the float technique. I find I don't need palette paper. I can just do it right on the glass surface. And I fuss and until I'm happy with my end result. Now the white of this sentiment, just a little too much, so I thought, okay, I'm going to edge it with blue. Just to make it blend a little bit more. And then I end up covering the whole thing with a very light wash of the blue paint. And that just makes it blend a little bit more. It takes the stark whiteness out, but doesn't cover up any of the letters. Then I grab my black fine line bottle. This is black acrylic paint, heavy body paint that I've thinned with water to just get to the right consistency, and that's just by trial and error. And then I'm going around just to edge the page, and then I do the same for the sentiment. Thank you for watching. Check out the I cards in the top right hand corner. Check out the N cards for recommended videos that may relate to this in some way, shape, or form. Give me a comment, give me a thumbs up, share this video and my channel with your creative friends. Bye for now.